va passer les machins. L'option de sauvegarde automatique n'est pas... Ok. Si j'étais à mon PC, il n'y a plus de stream, donc... Dans le rôle de Wolgulc. Et on a découvert que Karen, celle qui nous a envoyé dans ce truc, bah apparemment... c'est quelqu'un qui envoie les gens là-bas dedans. Donc c'est peut-être un agent des méchants dieux, là. Une genre d'oracle ou un truc comme ça, là. Voilà. Est-ce que je peux l'allumer, là? Voilà. Oui, oui. T'inquiète. Hop, dans le petit bassin pour nettoyer nos pieds. Ah, il y a des échelles pour, je pense, pour aller chercher des trucs. Ouais, t'es carrément près de l'eau. Hop, on va parler avec Tia. Ah.
Do you see it? Somebody waking up by a river in a forest to find a hooded figure with a coin. It's just as you described it, only your pronunciation is a little off. The name you heard wasn't Karen. It was C-H.
Ah, c'est Caron. Oh, c'est beau.
Charon, the ferryman of the dead.
Ah ouais, celui qui amène le...
Who, in exchange for the right coin, helps the souls of the newly deceased cross.
Donc on est mort, quoi.
The river that separates the land of the living from the land of the dead.
When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, but all I found was some loose change. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Sorry if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen.
There are a bunch of old stories about the gods punishing people by making them do the same futile task over and over. But on the bright side, at least you're not stuck in the underworld like they all were.
I'm so sorry, my friend. I'm so sorry. I take it you know what this means.
Non, on est en affaire.
I'm afraid so. It's all starting to make sense. All these people whose last memory was running from the fires toward the river. It seems none of them escaped with their lives after all. Perhaps we should be grateful they don't remember their final moments. It also tells us that the Golden Rule is the work of Pluto, the god of the underworld, and why his epithet has always been Father of Riches. I know it's a lot to take in, and you look as if you have questions, so I'll try to answer them if I can.
Donc on est tous des gens riches, quoi. Le personnage aussi, quoi. Et non mais Galerius c'était un paysan, après il y a des mecs qui sont... Il y a comment dire, un simplet en plus. Alors nous sommes morts.
In the old stories, the underworld was where the souls of the deceased were taken. But it was also possible for the living to reach it without dying, if they were particularly fearless. So I'm afraid I don't know.
Vous pouvez me dire?
Sorry, I keep forgetting you're not from here. If you were Roman or even Greek, you would know these stories. Each of them is slightly different, whether the storyteller was Plato, Homer, Virgil, or Ovid. But they always involved the souls of the dead meeting a grim ferryman named Charon on the bank of a river. It was said that he'd help the new arrival cross, only if they could pay him with a coin, an obol. That's why it was once our custom to bury our loved ones with a coin in their mouths. Charon's obol, we called it. Of course, an obol was a kind of Greek coin, because we inherited this knowledge from the Greeks.
Pourquoi n'avez-vous pas immédiatement reconnu?
To be fair, the ferryman isn't exactly as the poets described, and he, she, they,
Ouais.
they seem to appear to different people in different guises. You say you saw a young woman named Karen with a hood, and I once heard Kabash mention a stranger in a ram headdress named Kerti, and Rufius described meeting a stranger named Kumut Tabal wearing an eagle headdress. But whatever form this stranger took, they were always wearing a hood of some sort, and their name always began with a K sound. I suspect the only way you'll solve this riddle is if your paths cross again.
Mais par contre, ceux qui se disent chrétiens, comment ça se passe? Parce que là, c'est pas... Ouais, c'est
Good
bon.
question. Let's see. In the stories, Charon would always require a coin as payment for passage across the river. But that never made any sense to me. What does an ancient immortal being need with coins? In our case, it seems Charon didn't take the coins we had. He or she merely checked we had one in our possession. So, maybe there's something special about the coins each of us had on us. That might explain why we wound up here, but so many others did not.
Vous voulez me cacher cela?
Oh, I mean, I had my suspicions, especially after Livia's ramblings, but I would never have figured it out without your help, I promise you.
Je n'ai pas d'autres questions.
Now that we know where we are, we have to figure out what to do about it, if we don't want to be cast into gold.
Et l'autre, pourquoi il peut se sauver?
We don't have much to go on, except the old stories. I remember 4 in particular about heroes in the underworld. Hercules, the demigod and
Hercule, ouais.
Jupiter. Orpheus, a Thracian poet. Sisyphus, a king of Ephyra. And Aeneas, a Trojan hero. Hercules was able to leave the underworld because he cowed its god with his strength. Sisyphus and Orpheus both relied on their wits instead. They persuaded the goddess of the underworld, Proserpina, to help them escape. And finally, Aeneas was able to escape with the help of a spirit guide, who led him through a secret gate. So it seems you have 2 options: to confront the god of the underworld head-on, or find a way to escape with the help of Proserpina or some other guide.
Pas sur là, nous avons un pointé.
But the problem is, this place is fairly well designed to keep us here. There's no way to climb up the shaft. And even if you could build a ladder big enough, just trying it would break the golden rule. We know that, thanks to the writings left behind by those who've tried.
Éviter prononçant du dieu des enfers.
All Romans try to avoid saying it, and the reason is quite simple. He might hear us. You may refer to him as Pluto, if you wish, but you'll only be calling attention to yourself. Do so at your own peril.
Schizophrène.
Is everyone so blunt where you're from? Oh.
Mm.
That option would be the boldest, but also the only way to learn the truth about the Golden Rule, and maybe even put an end to it. As I said, Hercules managed to overpower the god of the underworld, but he was a demigod. Forgive my candor, but you are no Hercules.
En or.
Are you telling me that you can? I won't pretend to understand exactly what that means, but if that's true, then perhaps you stand a chance. So, if you want to confront him, I'll help you as much as I can. Who knows? Perhaps your name will be uttered in the same sentence as Hercules one day. But first, you'd need an audience with you-know-who, and for that, you'll need to enter the great temple overlooking the city. The problem is, the door has been sealed shut for as long as I've lived here, and there doesn't even seem to be a keyhole. I suspect the answer lies in the desecrated obelisk in front of it. I'm not sure if you noticed, but there are 4 plaques missing from its base. It looks as though somebody, or a series of somebodies, forcibly removed them, and in doing so, dishonored and angered our divine keeper. If you could recover and replace all 4 of those missing plaques, I imagine he might be willing to receive an audience again.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Il y avait une obélisque ou ça? Ah non.
Monument with 4 sides and a pyramid-shaped head that stands before the great temple, a dedication to the god of this place. You'll find them all over Rome, but of course they were looted from Egypt many years ago. It seems one of them made its way here too, although how is a mystery. However, this one is unusual in that each of the 4 sides is decorated in a different style: Roman, Greek, Egyptian, and another I don't recognize. That means you'll need to recover 4 different plaques: Roman, Greek, Egyptian, and a 4th, a mystery plaque.
Donc là, on doit trouver des plaques. Donc une romaine, une grecque, une égyptienne et une mystérieuse. Je pense que ça va être ou un truc hébraïque, donc écrit en hébreu, ou alors voilà, parce que là on a des chrétiens, donc des chrétiens, on va dire plutôt judaïsés, donc des juifs, des chrétiens, les vrais premiers chrétiens, parce que le catholicisme c'est ce qui arrive après. Le catholicisme vient de l'Empire romain, je vous rappelle, ils ont changé Jérusalem par Rome, et donc ouais, c'est pour continuer l'Empire romain. Et donc, je pense que c'est peut-être ça. Ce sera peut-être un truc mystère, mais je le verrai, parce que moi, ayant vu beaucoup de fois des lettres en hébreu, je vais reconnaître facilement. Oui, la Croben.
To answer that, we first need to ask who would have defaced the obelisk in the first place. It would have had the god's name engraved into it, so it may be that whoever desecrated it wanted that name to be forgotten. And there's only one group of people I know of who might want to do that. There's a cult in Rome that often argued there is only one true god. Theirs,
Ouais.
of course.
Donc,
They've been known to start fires, as well as deface religious monuments whose existence challenged their beliefs.
quoique non, eux, c'est pas des chrétiens païens.
So finding them won't be easy. But I did hear a rumor they have a secret shrine somewhere in the city. Perhaps, if you could find that, you might be able to recover the Roman plaque.
Où pourrais-je trouver la plaque grecque?
No. But perhaps you should begin your search with the local Greek fellow, Georgius. His store is in the forum.
Où pourrais-je trouver la plaque égyptienne?
Our Egyptian resident will be able to tell us. Unfortunately, he
Ah.
disappeared weeks ago. But I did hear Aurelia is peddling rumors about him at the tavern, so perhaps you could talk to her, or just take a look in his room.
Je trouvais la Medias Pack.
Afraid you're on your own with
Ah ouais, celle-là.
but perhaps finding the other 3 will illuminate the way.
Changeons de sujet. Dites-moi davantage.
Both Orpheus and Sisyphus were said to have persuaded Proserpina to help them escape, and Aeneas was guided to the exit. The problem is, those are the stories of a poet, a self-aggrandizing king, and a brawler about their own heroic deeds, so they should be taken with a grain of salt. First, Proserpina. What we do know about her is, well, it's a grim tale. It's said the god of the underworld abducted and dragged her here against her will, forcing her into marriage.
C'est peut-être ça peut aller pour nous aider.
Stories are true, then I suppose so. The problem is, how do we communicate with her without being noticed by her captor? Leaving that aside for a moment, There is also the possibility of a spirit guide. I don't suppose you've come across one of those in your travels?
Attendez, va parler.
And you're only bringing this up.
Ah, tu me l'as pas demandé?
I suppose you were worried I'd think you were as mad as Navia. Can you tell me more? Is it the same voice? What kinds of thing does it say?
Mais quelque peu cryptique.
Perhaps she is a benevolent spirit, or perhaps.
Mais non, on a vu qui c'était.
You're hearing the voice of Proserpina herself. If she has indeed been abducted, it would make sense for her to speak in cryptic whispers to avoid detection. Tell me, has she told you anything that might lead you to the way out?
Peut-être elle a dit.
It is strange. There are no rivers here. Let me think on that.
Sans se cacher.
As far as I can tell, water flows into the city from an aqueduct into one of two.
Ouais, il y a les fameux systèmes
If that's
qui sont interdits.
talking about, then perhaps you need to get into the upper cistern somehow. I vaguely recall wondering what was in there, but the door at the back of the great temple is locked up tight. You might be able to get a key from the magistrate, but if that doesn't work, perhaps you can find another way in. Let me know if you find anything in there.
Bien, je suis d'attaque.
All right. I would suggest not discussing this with anyone. The best we can do for them is to let them remain oblivious for as long as possible. As for Livia, it seems she's been shouldering the weight of this terrible secret all this time. Perhaps it would comfort her to know she's not alone.
D'abord, pour me parler avec Olivia.
Time is of the essence, so you'd best begin. May Fortuna guide you. Although you may not need her with Proserpina on your side.
Ok, madame. On se casse. 8. Je sais que tu peux pas bouger. Chargement. Pas très long. Bizarrement, les jeux sont sur d'une SSD. Là, on va par là. Livia, c'est par où? C'est par là? C'est par là. Olivia, c'est la vieille dame là, non? Ouais, c'est la vieille dame près du feu. Ouais, ça va,
Tantalus cannot catch the drops of just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world. So this place accepts all the souls, but it does not notice the crowds that come.
C'est où nous sommes.
Speak its name.
Les enfers.
Then it is true. I was right.
Effectivement.
I thought I saw it, but when the rest of them could not, I kept thinking I must have gone insane. I had to tell myself it was true over and over again, until I wasn't sure if I was deceiving myself. I must apologize if my words seemed cryptic. I'd found comfort in reciting the Metamorphoses by our great poet Ovid. He gives such an uncanny description of this place. I cannot help but wonder if he himself came here. Would you like to hear it?
Bien sûr, on va t'écouter.
I will do my best to remember the relevant verse. There is a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence to the infernal regions. The sluggish Styx exhales vapor, and by that way, the shadows of the newly dead descend, entombed with full rites, and the ghosts of those, at last, given proper burial. The wide, thorny waste is cold and pallid, and the newly arrived shades are ignorant of the road that leads to the Stygian city, where Black Dis has his cruel palace. As the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls, and is never too small for any populace, nor notices the crowds that come. There the bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives, and still others incur punishment. I hope I have done it justice, and now we share a secret. It's as if you've lifted a great burden from my shoulders. Thank you, friend. I think I should rest.
Ok, donc, disparition. Laisser couler, c'était quoi déjà? Citerne supérieure. Je pense que si on réussit à débloquer, à délivrer Cynthia, l'autre il peut nous donner droit à aller à la citerne, je pense. Chambre de Cynthia. C'est vrai qu'on n'est pas allé la voir. Je crois qu'on est passé à côté, mais on n'est pas allé la voir. Il y a aussi eu plus... désolé. D'encre... Oh, les tons, non. Parfois, la fleur et d'huile. Ah. Non. Chose de planquer, non? Pot de maquillage. Il n'y a pas un truc d'écrit, non? On peut pas fouiller. Ah, attends. Note de Cynthia. Si vous trouvez la clémence de bavardage, je suis désolé d'avoir vous envoyer ainsi, mais j'ai trouvé le moyen de m'échapper et j'ai décidé d'en profiter, je vous reprends un jour. Ah. Il y a une page suivante? Non, il n'y a pas de page suivante. Prendre l'objet. Comment ils seront. Cynthia. Hop.
I wish Horatius would stop letting barbarians in here. What do you want?
Allez, Cynthia.
You heard about her disappearance, I take it.
Projet d'évasion.
What? Really? I swear, I searched her room top to bottom and never saw that. I wonder how I could have missed it.
T'as mal cherché, c'était sur son lit.
Strange, but well done, I suppose. But it's odd. It was only a few months ago that Centilla's friend Yulia let slip she was planning an escape of her own. And yet, Yulia's still here. You should go and speak with her. Find out if she knows anything. She lives in the villa next door.
Attends.
Oh, look, you're back. Oh.
Je sais qui elle fréquentait. C'était Ulpus.
Really? That commoner in debt bondage next door thought he could win over a magistrate's daughter. That's awfully bold of him. I can see why she worked so hard to keep it a secret. Quick, go and find him and ask him what he knows.
Il est chamboulé par sa défense, je pense pas qu'il en soit responsable.
I see. Well, it was worth a try, I suppose. Just promise me you won't give up on her.
Alors c'est Prebis.
Thank you.
Ok, donc là, la quête. Disparition... demander à Lulia par les plans d'évasion de Saint-Ilia. Hop. Lulia... Ouais, ouais, elle est juste en face. On est en enfer? Bah ouais, on est sous terre, mais pourquoi il y a ça alors? On peut voir le... Pourquoi c'est éclairé? Les enfers, c'est censé être... Oui, je t'entends, hein, mais... Oh. Hop. Excuse-moi.
Oh, it's you again. Is everything all right?
Qu'est-ce que ça veut?
No. I did hear from Ulpius that she disappeared. It's very sad. She was such a lovely young woman. But I'd been locked in Malleolus's villa for months before she went missing, so I can't help you, I'm afraid.
Très bien. La règle d'or.
Priestess Equitia once told me it's the god's way of creating a city without sin. But if that's the case, then whichever god is responsible for it didn't think it through. I mean, all it really does is make bad people better at hiding their sins, and good people too frightened to stand up for themselves. I've seen Malleolus, Claudia, and Domitius make grown men cry. Romans, they don't cry easily. They've never physically hurt anyone. But the point is, they don't have to. They've got people running scared because everyone knows Malleolus is the favorite to win today's election.
Je vous ai dit.
I mean, the election is today. I suppose we will.
Ok,
Goodbye.
Et si... j'avais parlé à Galerius. Attends. Ah, se retirer... attends, je peux demander à Baléolus s'il est Quintus. Ah, c'est où? Allez, vite, je vais faire ça. Ah, mais il est là, lui. Attends, je vais t'attraper, toi. En plus, t'es tout seul. Comment ça, il est pas disponible? Où il va? Ah, tu vas au bar, connard? Non. Bon, on va aller faire le... disparition. Il était où, lui, l'autre, là, déjà? Qui était par en haut, lui, l'autre. Elle est jetée. Il était là-haut, lui. C'était quel temple qui est fermé? C'est celui-là ou c'est un autre? Je parle d'un temple qui est fermé. Celui-là. Le puce. Il est fermé, lui. Il va y avoir une entrée quelque part là. Merde. Ah, ça m'a fait échapper. Interroger le plus au sujet des... Bon, il est pas là, donc on va... démocratie, hop. Et là-bas, lui. Il bouge ou il bouge plus? Hein? Ça au poste de magistrat.
Shall you walk on eggshells, fearing simply to live and breathe, because the tyrant Sentius told you it was forbidden? For my first act as magistrate, I hereby announce a day of celebration to mark the end of an era. The myth of the Golden Rule is no more.
The Golden Rule is real, you idiot.
For his attempt to deceive us all, Sentius is hereby found guilty of treason against the Empire.
What? I have committed no crimes. This is madness.
His sentence: to fight for his life in gladiatorial combat against Domitius. Here and now for your entertainment.
You have no idea what you're doing. You're going to get us all killed.
Wait, I exercise my right as a Vestal priestess to pardon him. I will not allow you to do this.
You're showing your true colors now, priestess. Your corruption sickens me. Domitius, ignore her. Proceed.
This is insanity. You'll doom us all.
Lies. It is time the Golden Rule was exposed for what it is. A children's fable, exploited by a treacherous leader to instill fear in all of us.
This is why he's in his gladiator gear. They've been planning this all along.
Shut up, all of you. The magistrate has spoken. I'm going to enjoy killing you, old man.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Putain, mais il court vite lui là. Putain, mais je suis en train de me faire canarder là. En fait, je l'avais jamais vu se changer de truc, et en fait il court super vite quoi. Ah oui d'accord, en fait il invoque le truc à chaque fois. Il fonce ici pour invoquer le truc quoi. Ok.
Salve, friend. Mind telling me who you are and why you look like you've just taken on a gladiator and lost? Oh, sounds serious.
Mais si vous donnez un peu d'école,
Alright, let me see. Stop Fabia going in, but send the new arrival to the empty shrine. Understood. Virgil. Poor Rufus too, I guess. Alright, got it.
Bon.
Yulia. Oh no.
D'accord, on peut lui faire tout ce qu'on a déjà fait quoi. Ça c'est pas mal. Il y a une minute à perdre.
But once I'm done, I'll need you to tell me how you know all of this.
D'accord, donc Ulpius. Ah, je suis con putain, mais chaque fois je prends ça alors que j'ai le... Ulpius, alors disparition. Ouais voilà, en fait quand j'ai dû le faire, il devait avoir déjà fait Sproch. qui grogne, mais ça va finir. C'est ça qui est bien fait, ça. T'es pas obligé de tout refaire, tu peux le demander à lui au début. Alors j'avais peur qu'en fait il en fasse qu'un et que tu sois obligé de faire les autres. Non, en fait, tu peux lui demander de faire tout le reste. Il va faire tout le reste à ta place. Oh, c'est lui qui doit être magistrat. Tous les trucs.
Salve, friend. I'm Octavia. Welcome to life under the Golden Rule. It's a ghastly thing, is it not? How are you faring so far?
Regardez, ben... je suis au bord du coup.
All right, well, it was lovely to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you better over the coming months. And if you ever...
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no. No. Orpheus, what are you doing? Get back from there. If you lose your balance, you'll fall.
That's the idea.
What? Why? Why would you want that?
Why do you think I'm stuck for the rest of my life working for a man who treats me like an animal?
I know things are hard for you right now. They're hard for all of us. We're all in this together, Ulpius. Please just think this through. If you do this, it could be the sin that seals all of our fates. Is that what you want?
I'm sorry, but I just don't care anymore.
Please, Ulpius. Help him. If he goes through with it, it could be the end for us all. I don't know what to do. I've never had to deal with this sort of thing. Please, you need to talk to him.
Allô? Hop. Pourquoi j'ai plus le curseur? Très bien, je vais lui parler.
Thank you. And please, choose your words carefully.
C'est ce que Saint-Élia voudrait?
No, about that? How is that possible? I mean, I've never mentioned it to anyone.
Ah, si je vous le lisais.
If you say so. I don't understand. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want it all to be over.
Et à régler votre problème.
Too late for that. Yulia and I made a pact. And she's already swallowed hemlock this morning. If I backed out now, I'd be betraying her.
Non, on vient de la soigner.
I can't do that.
Je sais, attends, pour lui sauver la vie, elle va s'en tirer.
Really? That changes things a little. But debt bondage to that monster. Unless you happen to have 2000 denarii to pay off.
J'ai pas 2000 deniers, mais pas loin. Je pourrais rassembler l'argent si vous me laissez le temps.
No. Time's up. I'm out. Wherever you are. Scintilla, my love.
Oh non, putain, je me suis trompé.
Ulpius, no! I can't believe he went through with it.
Bon, on va faire un autre truc.
Oh Lord. That poor lamb.
Ok.
Well, I suppose it means suicide isn't a sin under the Golden Rule. So I guess that means whichever god is responsible for it, it isn't mine.
Maintenant.
I have to let everyone know what happened. And I guess Malleolus will have to clean up the mess in his villa. It's of his own making, after all. And I'd best pray for poor Ulpius.
Et merde. Ouais, je récupère les deniers en fait. Et je pique dans des... Y a pas des... Je pique dans des coffres, des trucs comme ça. Mais voler, je peux pas. Faut que je... Je peux pas vendre des trucs. Ah mais si, il y a des coffres aussi à trouver. Mais attends, j'ai combien en fait dans mon inventaire? 800 encore pas mal. Mais il y avait pas laissé couler. On va aller lui demander la clé à Saintius là. Ah mais il y avait Galerius qui m'avait parlé d'un coffre là.
Citizen. Name's Wolfius.
Oui, une plaque romaine.
What you're talking about.
Et je vous ai aidé à...
What? That was Galerius, not you.
Ou l'écorce de sol.
He got it from you. I guess you did help me then. I think I have seen that plaque. Sorry I lied. Can't be too careful these days. Head into the caves behind the theater.
Sous le théâtre.
Then right again. Oh, and here.
Bon, on va aller la chercher. D'accord.
You didn't get that from me.
Oui, merci.
See you around.
On a plein d'infos, plein de trucs. Donc la plaque romaine. Mais c'est bien amené ce jeu, j'apprécie. Parce que tu... t'es gars. T'as des points. T'as des points. Mais c'est où? Octavia. C'est vrai qu'il faudrait que j'aille voir Maléolus pour voir si c'est Quintus. Elle est où machin hein.
I said, please leave. You're trespassing.
Ah, ok, t'es une chrétienne, c'est le poisson.
The many shall suffer.
Merde, je suis rentré.
Of the one.
Eh, merde, je suis rentré comme un con chez... Ah, ça il est pas tiré, c'est bon, je sais. C'était par où là-bas? C'était par là-bas. Déjà je crois qu'on a la plaque, donc c'est bon. On n'est pas mort une seule fois. Je sais pas s'il y a une mort, non? Si j'utilise l'arc sur eux. Ça a pas l'air de marcher, donc faut mieux se barrer. Pour tous les trucs. On va peut-être refaire une puce. Ou alors il faudrait que je cherche les... vous confier. Intervenir. Pas de soucis. Pas de soucis. Merde. Oh putain, chaque fois j'oublie que ça pour aller plus vite. La plaque. J'ai la plaque romaine, je crois, non? C'est ça? La plaque romaine, on l'a. La plaque. Donc un homme vertueux. Une solution permanente. Et... On va aller voir lui d'abord.
On your best behavior, I trust?
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. Magistrate, yes, yes. Thank you. I'm delighted and deeply honored. And now...
Bon, il est occupé, il fait chier. Donc il faut que j'aide... Non, c'est pas ça. Ulpus.
Oi! How did you get in there, you cheeky little stirkers?
Alors pourquoi je peux aller dans le temps si je suis dans les enfers? Les enfers, on n'est pas censé être dans... Quoique les enfers, généralement, sont dans un autre plan. Je pense toujours que c'est sous terre, mais en fait, c'est un plan... selon plein de trucs, c'est un plan mortel.
Salve, friend. I'm welcome to.
Je lui remercie.
Another stoic, perhaps. We've all been where you are now. I used to lay awake at night contemplating the big questions. Why am I here? I still don't have any of the answers, I'm afraid. I don't think any...
Quel est... Vous me dire que vous êtes chrétienne?
Please keep that to yourself. I know you're not from around here, but things are very difficult
non,
right now. There was a terrible fire in Rome last year, and our emperor decided to make us his scapegoats. There were executions. It was horrible.
C'est que t'as été avec moi.
You have no idea how much I
On
appreciate.
va le dire. Hein. Quelle est votre histoire?
In this place, the magistrate has me earning my keep by cleaning and pruning the gardens. It's not quite how I expected my life to go. I used to live in a lovely villa on the banks of the Tiber. I was even betrothed to a handsome young man from a prominent family. But long hours of menial labor for the good of the community has its own charms too, I suppose.
Ouais, atterri ici.
The same way as many of the others. When the fires came to Rome 7 months ago, my family and I fled for the Tiber, hoping to escape on a barge. We were among the fortunate ones with enough coins for passage, but unfortunately, there were a lot of desperate people, and they boarded before we could depart. A scuffle broke out, and I was pushed overboard. The last thing I remember was the water rising up to hit my cheekbone.
Ah mais je me...
I woke up by the
D'accord, je viens de comprendre.
and stumbled across this place.
En fait, c'est tous des gens qui étaient plus ou moins, on va dire, riches, qui, bon, du moins qui avaient du moyen de se... de pouvoir partir, donc avaient de l'argent, de pouvoir s'enfuir. Et donc, bah, malheureusement, certains ont été condamnés à aller dans ce truc qui est là une épreuve pour dire, bah, faites attention, parce que bah, vous pouvez risquer de vous être transformé en ce que... c'est un peu, voilà, c'est un peu l'histoire aussi de la... comment dire, du roi Midas et des choses comme ça, quoi. C'est pas mal. Ceux qui ont fait ce jeu, ils devaient s'y connaître dans la mythologie grecque, donc voilà. Je me désole de l'entendre.
I'm sure it's all part of God's plan for me.
Changeons de sujet. On va sortir d'ici.
Although I did once hear someone gossiping down at Aurelia's tavern about a possible way out. I don't put a lot of stock in such rumors, but if you're desperate and wealthy, you could look into it, I suppose. If that doesn't work, then I suppose we're all stuck here until the gods decide our fate.
Merci, je vais m'appeler. Voilà, de là.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. I think about those words a lot. I'd like to think that if we all love our neighbors as ourselves and do to them as we'd have them do to us, then we'll all be fine. But on the other hand, I was always taught the intent of man's heart is evil from his youth, and that all of us are born with a tendency towards sin. And that's where I get stuck. Is it true? Are we born with a tendency towards sin?
Bon, ça dépend. Ce qu'on veut dire par bon, parce que des fois, il y a des gens qui peuvent être bons et puis tomber, d'autres être mauvais et découvrir que truc. Voilà.
That's true, then sooner or later, things are going to end badly for all of us down here. Unless, of course, there's some kind of divine intervention.
T'es là-dessus.
I wish I shared your faith.
Ok.
Well, it was lovely to meet.
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Ah bah voilà.
Oh no. No. Oh, P.S., what are you doing?
That's the idea.
What?
Why do you think?
I know. Please.
I'm sorry.
Please, help him.
Très bien, je vais lui parler.
You know.
Je vous disais.
You don't understand.
Pas de problème.
If I back.
We're
still in debt bondage.
Vincent, pourquoi avez-vous besoin de...
And I are in debt bondage to Malleolus. We might as well be slaves. And that's how much it will take to...
Comment pouvez-vous avoir une telle dette?
Oh. So it's my fault.
Hein, quoi?
I am out. Wherever you...
Ah mais non mais...
Scintilla, my love. I'm sorry.
Et je lui demandais juste... Oh, il est casse-couille. Ah, il est casse-couille, putain. Je lui demande juste, mais comment tu fais pour avoir une dette comme ça, Jean Mermoz? Voilà.
Leap into my villa from the balcony 100 feet above? That was either extremely reckless or impressively well.
Donc vous êtes... Plus?
My name is Marcus Malleolus Gurgis. You seem to have confused...
Un œil vert et un œil bleu, comme dans la description donnée lors d'exécution par la Madame Néron.
You mean my heterochromia? I am guilty of nothing more than having different colored eyes. Hardly the only person with the condition. Alexander the Great had it too, as it happens. I like to think it is simply the way the gods have chosen to mark a natural-born ruler. Nothing more.
De folie des grandeurs.
Well, I am not suffering from any delusions, as today's election will firmly establish.
Mais j'en trouverai.
Because it simply isn't true. Now, was there something else you wanted?
Vous retirez de l'élection.
Are you insane? You barge into my villa,
Donc on lui avait pas demandé.
outrageous demands? Why would I withdraw from an election I'm bound to win?
L'inventaire, vous en ferez à la règle d'or.
There's no such thing as the golden rule.
Ah, pour trahison et le candidat à la mort par combat par réalisateur.
Could you possibly know that?
Car je connais l'avenir.
This is nonsense. I don't know how you know about my plans, but I'm absolutely sure Sentius is involved somehow. And now, I'm going to enjoy watching Domitius kill him even more. Now, get out of here. You outstayed your very limited welcome.
Il a quand même mis un silence quand je lui dis ah t'es Catus hein. Donc c'est lui qui a foutu le feu à... Merde. Hop. Il faut que je trouve les plaques et tout aussi. Bon bah malheureusement on va aller faire d'abord la plaque. Alors tuc. Il y a Dully ou Georgius. Ouais, j'ai fait voir Georgius parce que Dully Georgius.
Salutation. Greetings. I'm Georgius.
Quelques questions.
Your words intrigue me more and more. But yes, very.
On peut trouver une plaque grecque.
Full of Romans you are asking me because I am Greek. Let me tell you something about Greeks and Romans. My name is Georgios, yes, but the Romans, they do not care. They hear me say Georgios and they think, ah, he must mean Georgius. Good Roman name. They do this all the time. They see us worshipping Zeus, they copy us but call him Jupiter. They take Hades and call him Pluto, Persephone, Proserpina. I am flattered that they copy our ideas, but why must they change the names? Do they want credit for making it all up? Do they want to forget where it came from? At first, I pull my hair out. After a while, I give up, and I become Georgius the Roman. I accept the world is Roman. Plus, I have no hair left.
Oui, de l'humour.
If you want to know who stole an old Greek name, look no further than the sticky-fingered Romans. The plague you seek was pilfered from a collection of old Greek relics by none other than Dully. He cannot help it. Like a typical Roman, he likes shiny things, especially those that once belonged to my people. And besides, it makes him happy. So I say, let him keep it. I believe he still has it with him, in his cell, just opposite the Temple of Demeter.
Ok.
I hope that our paths cross again soon, my friend.
Moi, il faut que j'aille voir Dully. C'est lui qui sait le plus, j'aurais dû.
Hello?
Mais il y a une plaque derrière lui, là.
Hello? Have we met before?
Grève dans votre chez.
Like it. It's shiny, innit? It makes me happy just looking at it.
Je pourrais l'avoir.
But if I gave it to you, then I wouldn't have it anymore, and I'd be sad.
Bon, qu'est-ce qui pourrait vous convaincre de me la donner?
Well, if you get me out of here, then I wouldn't need it anymore because I'd already be happy. Then you could have it, and you'd be happy too.
Ça va, mais peut-être qu'avec un nouveau magistrat.
Galerius? He's nice. I like Galerius. He made me a doll and everything.
Bon, faut que j'efface élire ce Galerius comme maréchal. Ah, ça demande.
Galerius will let me out. Then you can have my plaque, and everyone will be happy. Bye bye.
Donc, Galerius. La plaque grecque est là. Démocratie en action. Putain, c'est... Hop. Là, il y a Equitia, il est où Galerius?
Citizen.
A new face, Ave.
Une évasion des enfers?
I beg your pardon?
Nous en enfer.
That is, let's see. If that is indeed the case, we don't have much to go on, except the old stories. Hercules, the demigod.
Oui, ça je connais.
May Fortuna guide you.
Désolé, je suis... Retourne-toi.
Did you find
On est l'élection.
by dusk? It'll be between. Why do you ask?
Je nomine Galerius.
Idea, but I know Galerius well, and his position has always been that he won't run unless. It was only yesterday that he said to me he'd only ever run. So, I suppose if you'd like to see Galerius elected magistrate, you'd need to persuade Malleolus.
Ok. Comment je peux faire pour le faire retirer? Il est où Galerius? Ah, peut-être au bar. Peut-être la petite au petit bar. Comment il y a un... Il y a un coffre là, on pourrait ouvrir un truc là. Bref.
Cerberus lifts his triple head and lets out his threefold braying.
Livia, would you stop muttering like Medea over a cauldron? You'll scare away my customers.
They follow their trades, imitating their previous lives, but they are ignorant.
C'est de la bière.
You're in a world of your own, aren't you?
Coffre d'Aurélia. Pas de trucs à lire. Ah, c'est quoi ça? On va pas voler. Faudrait que je trouve Galerius, il est où?
Well, isn't
You,
that a big
Cadmus, cannot catch the drops of water, and just as the ocean, but it... Say it. Then... I thought...
Hop, on va les redire.
I would...
Voilà, on passe le truc. Faire plaisir. Je sais pas si on lui avait parlé à elle.
Oh, you're here. I'm so glad you did. And I hope I'm not being too forward, but the moment I laid eyes on you, I was intrigued. There's a light in your eyes I've never seen before. A certain learning and sophistication.
Connaissez votre souche, je sais que vous êtes pas bien, ça me pas. Enfin, donc continuez.
Some kind of joke. If it was, it wasn't funny. I take back what I said. Suddenly, I don't find you so intriguing anymore. Let's just forget that ever happened, so we can at least do business.
Ah, j'ai fait un succès.
What brings you to my tavern?
Savez où il est?
For a few weeks now. Last time I saw him, he was sitting at a table with Georgius, whispering about some job. I remember because they kept looking over their shoulders as if they didn't want anyone else to know. So, naturally, I hovered. The one word I kept hearing was vanishing, and then, the next day, Kabash just disappeared. Coincidence? I think not.
Quelle est votre histoire?
Let it go. Nothing's going to happen between us.
De sortir d'ici?
Normally, I'd expect you to buy me a drink before asking if I want to get out of here. Straight to business, huh? I can work with that. As a matter of fact, I do know a way out. I'm happy to tell you all about it, but this is valuable information we're talking about, and I don't just give it out like some cheap oracle. So, how badly do you want it? Is it worth, say, 1,000 denarii?
Ils veulent tous des milliers de deniers là. J'achèterai.
Can't tell you too much, or you'd figure it out for yourself. But I promise you, you'll never have to spend another hour in this city ever again.
On ne pas utiliser sur vous-même.
It's a one-way trip, and I'm not ready to go just yet. I like my life here. One day, maybe, but not now.
Et personne piégée ici, sachant qu'une Nixie
I think
existe.
of it this way. I have something of value, and I'm willing to share it for a price. That's not unethical. That's just good business. Now, do you want it or not?
Est-ce pas... Je sais qu'il s'agit d'une arnaque.
It's hardly my fault if people misunderstand the terms of a deal. I mean, it does say, let the buyer beware, right outside my tavern.
Que pensez-vous
I just try not to think about it. Drink helps with that. As the saying goes, to drink is human, so we drink.
Oh, les ragots intéressants.
For 10 denarii.
Il dit denier.
Have you met Livia? She used to do my hair until one day she just snapped. This place has that effect on people. Now she just stands around, caked in filth, muttering nonsense to herself. It's a real shame. Now I have to do my own hair. I hear that if Malleolus is elected, he's gonna throw a small festival to celebrate, with entertainment and everything. Can't wait to find out what it is.
Hop, quand on regarde un petit CZ, s'il a pas... Ah, 10 autres deniers.
There used to be a midwife here, Naevia, but this place drove her mad as a Maenad. Said she
Ça, on le
could
sait.
hear statues whispering to her. Can you imagine? Fortunately for us, she locked herself in the palace weeks ago. Centilla, the magistrate's youngest daughter. How can we trust him to govern a city? Whatever you like. All right.
Ok, je pense qu'on va aller lui piquer ce qu'elle a dans sa pièce, et puis si ça recommence, bah, on fait un autre truc.
Stay away from my money.
On a rien à battre.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Oh. Ok. Si on meurt pas... On m'a tiré dedans, salaud. Merci vers ce côté, ouais t'as raison. Si je peux se tromper de côté. On a 2000 deniers, donc on va pouvoir aider une puce, je pense. Elle avait pas mal de trucs, elle. Ok, on va aider Ulpus direct. Le mec, il choure le machin. Je pense qu'en fait, il y a des trucs, c'est obligatoire de les faire. De toute façon, on peut revenir, donc c'est obligatoire de les faire. Et donc là, on garde les trucs, on aide tout le monde. Faudrait que j'aille voir lui aussi.
Yulia. Poor Virgil. All right, let me see. I'll go.
Ok. C'est lui qui doit être magistrat. Bon, c'est sûr, il se tape tout le truc sur moi. On va aller faire une puce, maintenant qu'on a les 2000 deniers. On a 2000 deniers, c'est ça? On a 3000. L'autre a 2000 en plus. Un homme vertueux. Non, c'est pas lui. Plus de ce suicide. Vite. Courez. C'est par là. Par là.
Greetings and salutations.
Je l'ai mis. Faut faire élire Galerius. Ça va être la galère. Facile comme blague, mais c'est sympa. J'en ai 3000. Hein. Je peux même payer d'autres trucs, quoi. Hop. Désolé, je dois parler à... Mais il faut vraiment que je parle depuis. Voilà.
Oh no. 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 Wolf, what are you doing?
Et vous voyez, ça c'est bon.
I know. I'm sorry. Please help him.
Je vais lui parler.
Thank you.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Je vous disais. Ouais, oh, bah, joli. Il se trouve que je les ai. Je travaille pour vous. Non, vous seriez libre.
You'd do that for us? Couple of complete strangers.
Sûr.
It seems today we are both blessed. This did not turn out how I thought.
Voilà, fallait piquer chez l'homme.
I never thought people like you existed.
Voilà votre argent.
Thank you.
En 2000.
Pay off our debts immediately. I just wish there was some way I could repay you.
Vas-y.
Look on my back.
On va me parler de... Ah oui.
Ah. And there it is. All right. Scintilla and I were in love. And then...
Ah, donc il sait pas lui.
2 days ago, she went missing.
Pourquoi ne pas commencer depuis le début?
One night a few months ago, when I was cleaning Malleolus's villa, I heard a young woman singing. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever heard. I wasn't allowed out, so once everyone else was asleep, I climbed up the inside of the villa and onto the roof, just to see where that sound was coming from. And that's when I saw her. Standing in the garden of the magistrate's villa, I just sat there on the roof, listening to her with my chin on my knees. And for the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. And then she looked up and saw me and she smiled. I knew at that moment the fates had brought me to her, and from the moment she asked my name with this warmth and curiosity, I knew I'd have done anything for her. And so for weeks on end, each night I'd climb out of the villa and into her father's garden. We'd hold hands and talk about all the things we'd do once we got out of here, like having our own vineyard. And then one morning I woke up and everyone was out searching for her. They said she'd vanished in the night. All I could do was keep my head down and try to hide how beside myself I was. Scintilla was the one thing that made my life bearable. But with her gone, things unraveled quickly. You saw how bad it got.
Vous savez que souvent s'enfuir.
All I know is she loved me. And if she had known a way out, she would have told me. She'd never have taken her own life. And there's no way anybody could have killed her under the Golden Rule. I can't prove it, but I just know she's still alive somehow. Even now, it's as if I can hear her voice in my head, crying out to me. That can only mean one thing. Somebody abducted her. I have no idea how, or who would want to do something like that to such a sweet, lovely girl. But what else could have happened?
C'est qui peut l'enlever?
My guess? Malleolus had something to do with it. He is without doubt the most evil man I have ever known. I have no idea where he'd be keeping her, but there is one room in his villa, upstairs, which is always locked. I've never seen the inside of it, and I haven't been able to steal a key without breaking the golden rule. But I have a feeling that if you could get in there somehow, it would shed light on a great many things.
Ouais, et il y a aucune trace de scintilla là-dedans.
I see. That was the only idea I had. I'll give it some more thought. Come and find me a little later. I'll go and take care of things with Malleolus and tell Yulia the good news. Thanks again, friend. I'll never forget what you did for us.
J'adore les persos, ils... Et elle me dit rien.
What you did was extraordinary, and I'll never forget it. I'm thankful that you're here. Can I help you with something? Ah, that's
Ok.
a shame.
Ouais, non, mais de toute façon, j'ai pas d'autres questions. Donc... Patauger à contre-courant. Bah ça va, c'est bon, y a pas d'eau. Il y a la citerne, mais elle est où la citerne? Ah oui, il faut que je parle à la Galerius. Hop. Ok, Ok, donc là on avance sur des trucs, il faudrait trouver la citerne. La plaque égyptienne, la plaque grecque on a fait... Ça on sait, la plaque grecque, la plaque égyptienne... Genre juste, mais comment il connaît Kabash? C'est un grec, c'est pas un égyptien. C'est encore un grec d'Égypte.
Greetings and salutations. Greetings, I'm Georgie.
Vous voulez savoir où je viens, mais je dois savoir quelques questions. Dire que vous étiez l'un des dernières personnes à l'avoir vu.
I knew this day would come. I do not wish to lie to you, my friend, but even discussing this matter is dangerous. Please, let us leave the live coals safely beneath the ash.
Ça les coudes, vous vous souvenez?
Very well, but the magistrate would not look kindly upon this, so please keep it to yourself. For several months now, I have been sneaking out at night to worship the gods of my ancestors in the temple of Demeter. Each day, I leave offerings of food in the hope that we may have a bountiful harvest, and yet the next day when I return, the food is missing.
Comme c'est très étrange.
So I ask, who or what is devouring the food in this temple?
Il y a quelqu'un qui est caché dedans.
Once I sat in front of my shop like the 100-eyed Argus until dawn to see if I could spot a thief going in, but do you know what I saw?
Un ivrogne?
Nothing. Nobody entered, and yet when I went to take a look, my offering was gone. It is bizarre, is it not? When I told my friend Kabash of this at the tavern, he offered to help investigate. He went in, and to my dismay, he was never seen again.
Tombe de Déméter.
The only Greek temple in the city. Head towards the baths, and it is the last building on
Ah mais oui, c'est lui. Oh, ça va.
You should pursue this, my friend. It would break my heart to be responsible for two people disappearing. But you do not strike me as a kind of person to be deterred by such warnings.
J'ai un arc! Un putain d'arc! Il voit pas que j'ai un arc dans le dos! Ils sont rigolos, tout le monde dit hey, tu veux que t'as un arc et... Normal. En plus, ça va juste à côté. Alors. Un vase. Un vase. Pensons de cabache. Pas vite. C'est là, il y a peu. Petit chargement. On arrive dans un nouvel endroit. Longtemps. Personne n'est allé voir qu'il y avait un truc derrière. Hein. Faut pas peur. Lire. On peut pas tomber. J'essaye de voir si on peut tomber, mais non. On peut pas tomber, le jeu est prévu pour ça. Ok, il y a un truc caché sous la cité. Personne inconnue. Je m'appelle Wolgulc. Recherche de cabache.
I know this man. He came through here some weeks ago. I will tell you everything I know, but first, a request. I've been living down here alone for many years, with nobody to talk to but myself.
Est-ce que je peux répondre?
The thing I long for above all else before I die is a good philosophical argument with somebody astute. I'm hoping that person is you. Let us find out with this simple question. Have you deduced the name of the god responsible for the golden rule?
Nous tuons Dieu des enfers.
I see you are indeed quite astute. Very few come to that realization before their time in the sun is over. Now, will you join me in a friendly Socratic dialogue?
Plutôt simple.
Then let me begin with a question. Would you say you know the difference between right and wrong?
Certaines questions complexes.
We're the same then. Why I became a philosopher. But if you struggle with right and wrong normally, then down here with the golden rule, surely your struggle can only have become more difficult.
Oui, j'imagine.
Well, that's reassuring. And the truth is, you're not alone. You see, out there in the world, being uncertain about right and wrong was acceptable, because our mistakes rarely had consequences. So we would tell lies and bend rules, and turn a blind eye and rationalize, and yet still find a way to think of ourselves as good people. But under the golden rule, morality matters. The slightest wrongdoing could result in a mass execution. So to navigate this maze, we would have to be certain about the difference between right and wrong. Wouldn't you agree?
Ouais, faudrait donc les certains. Quelle version du bien et du mal?
Excellent question, and it leads directly to my next line of inquiry. So let me ask you this. Is there one system of morality which is always perfectly correct, which you could follow in every situation and always do the right thing?
Si tiens, un système moral qui soit toujours parfaitement juste. Bah non, ça dépend parce que des fois ça peut être juste pour certains et injuste pour d'autres parce qu'ils n'ont pas le même vécu. Donc non, je crois pas. Je crois pas.
Or is it possible that humans simply haven't figured out the right system yet?
Moralité correcte, voilà, j'imagine que n'a pas encore trouvé le bon système. Ah, c'est toujours le cas maintenant. Hein.
best and brightest haven't been able to answer them.
La réponse, voulez-vous en venir?
I don't think anyone alive truly knows any hard and fast rules about right and wrong.
C'est ce que je pense. Il y a une personne au monde qui connaît ces règles strictes concernant le bien et le mal. Les deux ne tuera pas.
There are circumstances where an exception may be made, such as where it is necessary for self-defense or to prevent a greater evil. For any rule, you can imagine there are countless situations in which that rule may be suspended, and those situations are impossible to codify. If there is one thing I have observed about rules, it is that virtuous people do not need them, and evil people will always find a way around them. And so we must accept our limitations, and the sad truth that no human society will ever achieve the utopia for which it strives. In mathematics, we would call it an asymptote, a line that can be approached but never reached. Because the only way to create a utopia is with the ever-present threat of force, such as the Golden Rule. This and no other is the root from which a tyrant springs when he first appears as a protector. And life under tyranny is no utopia at all.
Pourquoi pas?
I admit, I am talking a lot. Forgive me. I'm just excited to have company. In any case, thank you for humoring an old man. I would be happy to answer your questions.
Ok, quelle est votre histoire?
You mean, how did I end up living alone in this cave with nothing but these relics of the past for company? It's a long story.
Je vous écoute, on t'écoute, allez, de toute façon.
At 19, I left Corinth for Rome to study rhetoric at one of her finest academies, so I could argue more forcefully. Back then, I used to enjoy verbally sparring with everyone I could, and I was good. One night, I found myself in a tavern in an argument with a drunk mercenary. It became heated, he drew a gladius, and I won the argument, but lost my life. I woke up on the banks of the Styx at a campfire opposite Karen. Of course, I tried to persuade her to let me return, but even with all my skill.
Donc lui, t'apprend que vraiment, ouais, on est qui, voilà.
Friends and learned what I could, quickly realizing our little community faced certain death under the Golden Rule. So I began looking for a place to hide underground. Fortunately, I found this place waiting for me. You see, I was not the first to take refuge here. I returned to my friends above, persuaded them to join me, and 12 of us descended for the last time to live out our days hidden from Hades' tyranny.
Ouais, vous retournez à la surface.
My generation was wiped out, turned to gold, many years ago. My friends and I were able to avoid the same fate by hiding down here. I think it's safest to assume that if I was to return, Hades would realize that his furies hadn't finished the job.
Ah, d'accord, donc là, c'est des serviteurs d'Hadès qu'on voit. Vous voulez dire Pluton?
They're one and the same. The Romans call him Pluto.
D'accord, il est grec.
My people called him Hades.
Donc il y a un autre grec. Dire votre nom.
That if you were to utter my name in the city, even by mistake, that Hades would hear you.
D'accord. Je veux pas qu'on... Vous pouvez passer tout le monde.
I'm afraid I am the only one left. There were 12 of us in the beginning, but one by one, my friends passed away. Some from malnutrition, others from madness and despair. It has been lonely. Before my unexpected visit from Kabash some weeks ago, I'd not seen another person in many years.
Comment avez-vous survécu ici?
Living in darkness is not without its challenges. The first challenge is diet. Fortunately, I found that eating fresh fish provides most of the nutrients I need. And sometimes, when there are Greek people living up above, I surface at night and salvage the offerings they've left Demeter. The greater challenge is the isolation. So I like to imagine arguments, where I argue both sides. But, like so many things in life, arguments are better with a partner.
Changement de sujet. Faire d'ici.
If I did, would I be living like this?
Que pensez-vous de la règle d'or?
Discuss it at length already. Oh, I see. You're toying with me.
Sur une plaque qui a été retirée de l'obélix.
Bearing the Egyptian inscription.
C'est bien celle-là.
It is a cursed object, and I would be happy to give it.
Ah putain, fait chier lui.
Kabash had not already taken it.
Il y a des mots où se trouve Kabash.
But you may find him hostile. To prepare for your encounter, there are certain things you must know. Very few know this, but before the Romans came to this city, it was once entirely Greek. The architecture, the temples, and the people. When the Romans came, in typical fashion, they claimed it as their own, built over everything that could be built over, and renamed the things that could not. Thus, the shrine of Persephone became the shrine of Proserpina. And when they found an obelisk bearing the name Hades, they tore it off and replaced it with Pluto instead. And the city's dwindling Greek residents, witnessing this compulsive Roman conquest, decided to preserve what they could of their heritage. They gathered their art and valuables, secreted them away through the temple of Demeter, and hid them here, out of reach of the Romans.
Je vous suis.
There was one thing that always seemed out of place to me, and it is the very thing you seek. An even older plaque bearing an Egyptian inscription.
Qu'est-ce qui était écrit?
Until years later, when the first of my friends began to die. As a result of their deaths, we began to dig catacombs branching off from this cavern to lay them to rest. We extended the tunnel so far that we accidentally discovered another, an even older tunnel, which somebody had gone to great lengths to keep hidden. Suddenly it made sense why there was an out-of-place Egyptian plaque among our people's possessions. You see, we proud Greeks had thought the Romans beasts for stealing and corrupting our heritage. But it turns out this game has been going on much longer than any of us imagined. I think it is best you head through the catacombs and follow Kabash's trail.
Est-il là-bas?
There are certain things you must see for yourself. Take this key. You'll need it to open the gate.
Ok.
I enjoyed our chat, but please keep my presence here a secret.
Pas de soucis. D'accord. Alors, c'est par où? C'est par là. Dans les cacas, les catacombes. Quoi, il est mort, il est transformé. Je dis il est mort, c'est un mort-vivant, un truc comme ça. Oh, c'est sombre ici. C'est sombre. Et puis l'autre côté, donc en fait il faut faire tout le tour. Oula. Ah, l'arc. Il est où? J'ai oublié que j'avais l'arc, j'étais là. Et surtout que je peux pas tirer, il y a rien dans l'eau pour que je puisse transformer. Merde, oh putain, j'ai tiré direct dans la tête. Ok, il y avait carrément un truc quoi. Et là, collectif, ça va pour les péchés de l'individu. Ah, que c'est la même chose, c'est... Et oh... Ok. Ok, on a 3 civilisations en même temps, quoi. J'ai plus de flèches, mais... Sur à côté. Arrête, arrête, arrête. J'ai plus qu'une flèche, là. J'ai plus rien. Plus d'accord, il est mort en enfer. Ils ont tous le même truc. Ouais, donc en fait ils sont... Est-ce que je peux récupérer les flèches sur leur corps? C'est moche, ça. Mais il est là.
Stop. Do not come any closer.
Bah, on l'a trouvé. Qui êtes-vous?
I'm Kabash. And let me guess. Another Greek or Roman come to loot and plunder the resting place of my ancestors.
Je ressemble au grec ou au romain d'après vous?
Trousers, boots, curious here. No, I suppose you do not. Then what do you want?
D'une plaque égyptienne.
To what end?
Remettre sur l'obélisque.
That is welcome news. You really are not
Ah
Greek
non.
or Roman, are you? I was planning to return it myself, but for now, I must remain. Here, take it and restore the honor of Osiris.
Ok, bon bah c'était facile. Merci.
Now, as for the other plaque.
Quatrième plaque, vous en avez entendu parler?
I have it right here.
Il est avec lui?
I stumbled across a collection of dusty curiosities while searching for a place to hide from the hungry children of Amit. And there it was.
D'accord, il l'avait avec lui. Puis-je l'avoir?
You may not. In fact, I am about to destroy it.
Pourquoi?
Because it speaks a treacherous, blasphemous lie.
Bon ça.
I will tell you. But first, do you know what this place is?
La droite.
Indeed. And I see you know our history.
La droite.
This is
On n'est pas à la gauche, on est à la droite. Nul.
Been down here for weeks, piecing together its story. And here is what I have learned. As Egypt declined and the Greeks had their turn to flourish, their souls came here in great numbers. But instead of adopting our ways, they copied and corrupted them. When they found the obelisk bearing the name Osiris, the true god of the underworld, They desecrated it, removing his name and replacing it with Hades. Even the ferryman of the dead, known to my people long before as Kerti, they renamed to Keron. As if that desecration was not enough, they built over this place, using it as the foundation for their own underworld, so that ours was forgotten. My only solace is that the Greeks then suffered the same fate when the Romans rose to power, renaming Hades to Pluto, and the cycle began anew.
Ok, problème avec les packs.
With a script I do not recognize, but it is ancient, almost as if it is older than the plaque bearing Osiris's name. But if that is so, it would imply the gods of Egypt are mere imitations too, copied and corrupted from an ancient people who prospered even before us, and that my people did to them what the Greeks and Romans did to us. But this, I cannot accept. I sense a deception. Perhaps it is the work of Set, the usurper, seeking to undermine Osiris once more.
Que dit l'incryption?
You will never know. This work of sacrilege must be destroyed, thrown into the black abyss below in Osiris's name.
Stop, j'en ai besoin.
Too late. It is done.
Je vais plonger pour la récupérer.
Plunge into the depths of the Duat with no way back up. Madness.
On verra, j'ai d'abord quelque chose.
Will help you to see reason, then ask.
Quelle est votre histoire?
From Rakotis, which you may know as Alexandria, the name of the city the Greeks built over it. I was a fisherman, like my father before me. Since the Romans had taken over from the Greeks, I took the opportunity to learn Latin and eventually traveled to Rome. When the fires broke out last year, I tried to help. I gathered terrified locals into my boat and led many of them to safety farther along the Tiber. On my 7th trip, a passenger demanded I wait for his brother. But we were full to almost sinking, and smoke was all around us. I told him his brother would have to save himself, and he tried to bribe me by placing a coin into my hand. When I refused, he drew a dagger and thrust it between my ribs. I awoke on the banks of the river to a stranger wearing a ram headdress. He said his name was Kerti, and at the time, I simply thought him odd. It did not dawn on me until much later that he was the Kerti, the ram-headed ferryman described in the Book of the Dead.
Connaissez-vous un moyen de sortir d'ici?
Is where I belong, as caretaker of the memories of my people. If our ways are to be remembered, it falls to me.
Vous de la règle d'or.
If someone is to break the golden rule, it will not be me, for I try to live as I always have by the command of the goddess Ma'at. Do to the doer to make him do. As for the punishment that will come from it, I finally understand why it has long been said among my people that gold is the skin of the gods.
J'ai vu, il y a quoi là en dessous?
What could possibly lie beneath the underworld? Perhaps it is infinite darkness. Perhaps it is the lair of Amit, the devourer of souls. All I know is, it would be unwise to venture down there.
On a encore en plus envie d'y descendre.
One so contrary where you are from, do not even consider it. Good. Be gone from this place. Wait. You are planning to go.
Oui, bah oui, je vais essayer quand même. Évidemment.
You would plunge into the depths of the Duat with no way back up. Madness.
Moyen de ressortir.
We shall see.
Ça sauvegarde avant, c'est ça qui est rigolo. C'est les Sumériens, c'est bien ce que je pensais. Donc c'est hébraïque, mais avant hébraïque. Ça doit être hébraïque. Donc là, il y a aussi le truc de la règle d'or. Ah, mais les têtes, elles bougent. Pas de flèche. Pierre antique. Mode lecture, personne inconnue, côté... Oh, semer et récolter ensemble. Hier, nous avons vu les nouveaux arrivants à Bravo, s'ils faisaient partie de notre profil. Avec nous, l'un et l'un de notre famille se sont desserrés et très vite, nous sommes devenus étrangers les uns pour les autres. Mes frères et mes sœurs se sont mis à uniquement pour eux et boire à manger tout seuls. Et c'est là dans la vie qui nous a pris racine, les sentinelles. Et on est de nos erreurs. Je pense que là, ça sera pour pas de flèches. Ah, il y a des flèches. Bizarre cette eau, elle est verte. Non, c'est la lumière qui fait que ça... Oh. What? Alors j'ai fait mieux qu'Indiana Jones. J'ai esquivé la boule. Mais au dernier moment quoi. Putain mais les statues qui vont glisser à chaque fois là.
When I told you that you would not find a way back up, that was not a prediction. That was a promise. You will die here.
Voilà. Et c'est dans la violence.
I warned you against coming down here, against perpetuating this sacrilege.
Comment il a pu descendre lui alors que...
You have undermined and dishonored the true god of the underworld. How did you think this would end, if not with bloodshed?
Moi.
I will listen, but if I sense deception, or if you further insult my gods, I will carry out my threat. So tell me, why should I let you live after you salvaged this instrument of blasphemy?
J'essaie de pas alors, sur l'obélix profané. Oh, dieu des enfers.
But why? What business could you have with Osiris?
Faudrait avoir la règle d'or. Ah merde. Ah, vous en faudrez la règle d'or. Mais j'ai pas de...
Good. I welcome it. You see, the philosopher told me that each time it breaks, Osiris bellows with rage, and his voice shakes the very foundations of the earth. I can only hope one more tremor will lay waste to this fragile place once and for all, and you along with it.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Ok. Ah merde, je me noie. Ah bah... Mais si je meurs... Il va partir de la dernière sauvegarde. Je vais essayer de... La dernière sauvegarde. C'est ça. J'ai pas de flèche. Est-ce que je peux trouver des flèches? Il n'y a pas de flèches. Il est où lui? Ah bah là. Moins. Obélix profané. Près des dieux des enfers. Qui libère tout le monde? Oh ta mère.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Ok, on peut revenir là. Et ensuite... Ah oh. Non, là, on a envie... c'est là d'où on vient. Merde. C'est pas par là d'où on venait, si, déjà? Ah, c'est bien, on peut être tranquille, y'a personne. C'était les catacombes. Ah oui, c'est là, c'est les catacombes. En fait, chaque fois qu'on entend la grosse voix, c'est Hades qui nous dit oh, je vais te défoncer ta gueule. Ouais. Merde, c'est par où la sortie? Merde. Voilà. Non, là, c'est d'où on arrive. Oh. C'était par là d'où on arrivait, non? Non, ah merde. On descend. Ah là, comme ça, je vois rien, quoi. C'est là d'où j'arrivais, je crois. Ouais, c'est peut-être de là, en fait. On sort. Le chargement, donc c'est on sort. Il y a un petit chargement. Allô? J'étais bloqué. Okay. Ok, on va aller là, puis malheureusement, on va s'arrêter là. On a eu encore pas mal d'infos là. Et on a plus de flèches, faudrait que je trouve des flèches. Allez, approche-toi. Et ils sont où les tireurs d'élite là? Et par contre, comment Ulpus, je vais le repayer là? C'est avec Galerius? Ouais, je vais repasser Galerius et puis on va sauvegarder là après.
Salve, friend. Mind?
À vous confier.
Yulia? Oh no. Poor bird. Alright, let me see. I'll go.
Niveau des deniers, ah ouais non, on a plus les deniers. Je peux les revoler? Non, je peux pas les revoler. Peut-être en leur parlant, on lui dit bah, je vous les ai déjà donnés, vous êtes déjà machin. Allez, on sauvegarde. On sauvegarde une deuxième fois, pour être sûr. Et on quitte, on n'aura pas fini. quitter. On sauvegardait, on a sauvegardé justement 2 fois. Donc oui. Ok, on avance bien dans l'histoire. Et bon, là c'est un jeu qui nous montre que avant, il y a eu avant les Sumériens. Alors bizarrement, les Sumériens ils sont pas venus jusque là, si. Parce que là on est autour de Rome, donc tout se passe à Rome, mais ou alors tout le lieu se passe vraiment dans un truc en enfer, et donc en fait ça se suit. Bref. C'est vrai que les noms sont un peu pareils là, si c'est Kerti, Caron, machin, c'est rigolo quoi. Montrer que ça suit, où ils sont... ils ont fait quelque chose, mais c'est rigolo. Il y a que il y a que justement, si on regarde avec Dieu, il y a pas, Dieu, le monothéisme, il y a plus tout ça, quoi. Les autres avaient tous un truc, un cheminement, des machins, plusieurs dieux, tout ça, plusieurs trucs. Et lui, et le monothéisme a un peu viré des trucs. Il y a peut-être des idéologies philosophiques qui sont un peu restées, mais bizarrement, il y a des trucs qui sont enlevés et qui sont assez intéressantes. Allez, on va quitter